Today we're going to make some jerky in the smoker. Let's get started. Okay, usually I use a roast, but they had some eye of round fast fry steaks here on sale. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these to make some beef jerky in the smoker. So what you want to do, it's kind of like, I don't have a dehydrator, so we're going to use the smoker kind of like a dehydrator. So it's going to smoke it and kind of dehydrate it at the same time. So you want the temperature low. So what we will do is first we're going to slice these up into strips. And since they're fast fry steaks, I'll take a look. They're already thin enough for jerky, so we can just cut them in strips. Usually what I do, I'll get an eye round roast. You want a beef roast that doesn't have a lot of fat. So if you look at the steak, there's not a lot of fat in it. You know, usually you'll see like almost like the veining of the fat. You don't want a lot of fat because the jerky can go rancid faster. Well, in my house, it doesn't last very long to go rancid to begin with, but if you want it to sit in your fridge for a couple weeks, you don't want a lot of fat on it. So these ones are nice. There's not much fat, just a little around the edges that we can trim off. So let me cut these into strips, and then we'll go ahead and start making our marinade. Okay, so let me cut these up and then we'll come back. So you can see how much meat I got out of these little fast fry steaks. I do like cutting them frozen when I use the eye round roast. I'll just grab my meat slicer when it's frozen and cuts so much easier, and it's all ready and it's perfect size. These ones still cut good, but when it's all thawed out, it kind of stretches a little bit and compresses and whatever. So I'm going to throw the marinade together, and we're going to put this in a bag, almost like a shake and bake kind of thing, and put this in the marinade, let it sit overnight in the fridge and absorb all that nice flavor inside the meat. And then in the morning we'll bring this out and get the smoker prepared. So let's get this marinade going. Okay, so now we're going to make our marinade. So what I usually do is I just use my dry rub, and then I'll throw a little bit of, I don't know, depends on how you want to pronounce it, Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire sauce or Worcester sauce. I don't know however you want to say, but I'm going to use some of that, and that'll kind of turn it into a dry rub, into a marinade. Now, even just putting the dry rub mixed with the meat overnight in the fridge, if you watch my pulled pork video when I put the dry rub on the pork, but it did the same thing, right? It kind of congealed and turns almost liquidy, right? But I'm throwing a little bit of this in there, and then and that adds some nice flavor to it as well. So what we're going to need is 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now with the amount of here and being in this bag, we don't have to double up the ingredients, which should be fine. Okay, then next we're going to need a tablespoon of white sugar. And we're going to use a tablespoon of garlic powder. Tablespoon of onion powder. Before, when I used to just keep them in the bags when I would go to what we have is called a bulk barn, where I get my spices from. It used to get all clumpy because when it's a powder like this, any moisture introduced to it turns it all chunky, right? So put it in those. It keeps it nice and fluffy and it's not all chunky. We're going to use next is 2 tablespoons of paprika. And 2 tablespoons of salt. Now, if you want some heat, you can put a little bit of chipotle in there. Now, I'm just going to put a little dab in there, so not too much. You want a little bit of heat in there. So this is more like a half a teaspoon, because I like a little bit, but nobody else likes too much. So I don't want to put too much where everybody else, well, unless I want to do it because nobody else, I don't want anybody else having me. And then I have a little secret ingredient here, but other than that you don't really need to. I do. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll just kind of mix it up a little bit first, get all the dry ingredients mixed together. Okay. Looks like it's mixed together. Now you can do about 3 or 4 tablespoons of your Worcestershire sauce. Oh, don't drip, don't drip. I usually put 4 or 5 in there. Mix it up again, get it all liquid mixed into it. Now if you want more, you can have more. It'll all mix in there. And then Throw your meat in there. This will give me enough for 2 racks worth of meat. I may go and take another roast out of the freezer and slice it up. Maybe even make some more. We'll see. And now you want to make sure you get that marinade and that rub all on all of the meat, right? Mix it around nice and good here. You want to make sure they're nicely covered, right? Now if you notice, like, open it up, if you notice some of them don't have a lot of the rub on there, you can get your hands in there, mix it around in there, just sometimes it likes to stick in there. And if you notice, it's still a little kind of not as liquidy, more kind of a paste. If you want to put more in here, you can just do whatever. You can, it's your jerky, so Worcestershire sauce ain't gonna do a heck of a lot. It's great taste, especially on beef, right? Like, I use that with my steaks as a marinade if I want to marinate some steaks for the barbecue. So I'm okay. You can never have enough of it. You almost want to drink that stuff. So make sure get all that stuff that's on the side. See how it kind of wants to stick to the side there. I'm mixing it up. I'll get that and mix it out. Make sure it's in there. All your meat's all covered. Then you just throw it in the fridge overnight and let it soak that into the meat. Alright, so as you can see, it's completely, it's all covered up, and now we'll get it in the fridge, and then in the morning we'll come throw this thing on the smoker. Alright, so let's get her in the fridge. Okay, so right now we got the smoker preheating. Now you don't want it any hotter than 180 degrees. You're kind of dehydrating the beef, not cooking it. So you want to try to keep it between 165 and 185. So I have it preheating right now. While we preheat it, we're going to want to try to get this excess moisture off the meat, right? So it dries out faster. So we're going to take it and put it on some paper towels here. Now one thing is, you can make your own jerky. You don't need a dehydrator, you don't need a smoker. You can throw it in the oven. You can just throw a marinade on there. If you want to create your own marinade on there, you can even buy different types of marinades if you want. There's all kinds of different ones. I like using the smoker because it gives, just to give that extra smoky flavor. Some people will use liquid smoke or whatever. I'm not a fan of it, but you can, if you want to, just use it and put it in the oven. I'm just trying to lie them out flat. Okay, so I got it flat here, and then I'm just going to take this paper towel and I'm just going to kind of dab the top of it. Try to get that extra moisture off it. And once I got the moisture off of it, I'm just going to put it on the rack. And try to fit as many of these on there as I can. They will shrink as they dry out. Got more slices than I thought I would have, which is good. Never have enough. All right. Had to do a little maneuvering, but I wanted to try to fit them all on 2 racks. Well, it's snowing outside right now, so I'm not going to bring the camera outside and show it going into the smoker, but you've seen other videos of mine with the smoker, but remember, just you want it between 165 and 180 Fahrenheit, and we'll throw it on for 2 hours, and then after the 2 hours we'll come and take a look at it, because you want it to be able to bend and not break, but you don't want to break. If it breaks when you bend it, to me it's over dried. I'd rather have a little bit of chewiness to it, so we'll wait in 2 hours, we'll check it, and we'll see how it looks in 2 hours. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. We're here to check on it. Figured it'd just be easier for me to hold the phone. As you can see, some of the pieces are done. They're a little bit flexible still. Some of them look like they are. You want it, when you bend it, see this kind of the strings or the strands of the meat come apart, it doesn't break. That's kind of what you want, because if you break it, it's kind of dry and brittle. So you want to kind of, see they shrink a little bit. Watch how when I bend it, it doesn't break. So it still makes it chewy. So I think these are ready to come off. And as you notice, like I said, if I got an extra rack, I'll do some smoked almonds. So let's get these things in the house and take a look at them and close up this video. Okay, so the jerky's all done. I'll let them cool off. Like I was showing you in front of the smoker. So, see that one, I wouldn't call it overdone, but it's, I'd rather it be cooked a little bit less than this. You can tell these ones here along this row were a little bit closer to the heating element, but it's still good. It's not like it's burnt. It's only at like, well, it wasn't even 180 degrees in it. So I just like them a little more chewy. So let's taste this one here. Still tastes great, just not as chewy, right? It's more, it breaks apart when you crunch into it with your teeth. Now, if you look at one of these, and I did rotate the grill, the grates, the racks. So you can see, watch this one, see? That one didn't break, see? But you can see the white, kind of like the strands of the meat. And then try this one, see how when you pull it apart, it's a little more chewy. Now the ones that aren't as chewy will probably last longer in the fridge because they're dehydrated even more than these ones, but these barely last a week in our fridge. Usually I wait until the summer to make these in the summer because they're great during the summer. We just snack on them. We'll throw them outside and leave them on the table in a bag or whatever. Now as we're doing things around the cottage or whatever, even around the yard here, we just stop for a second, grab one, and just because a lot of times we're so busy during the day we forget about lunch and you're just doing things. So that's a nice little snack. So once you can see how they shrunk, but that's fine, you just make more, right? But that's pretty good, 2 racks from those little fast fry steaks that I bought on sale. So if you have any questions, leave in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when I post another video, and we'll talk to you later.